Okay. I just like kind of started. Satoshi Forest, 9 acres of land. Jason King, founder of Sean's Outpost, bought it for homeless people to camp on. And the community is fighting back on this because they're afraid of the homeless people. He just had to go to court. This makes me outraged and upset because of my own family's history of feeling like we were about to be homeless. I mean, just so many things happened in this like 1 year that it seemed like it was putting us on the road to be homeless. I mean, we followed laws, we paid our bills, we had a perfect payment history, but just things just went bad, and the Army saved us. And in the end, at the very like last possible minute, it was amazing. But we could have been one of those people. And I just want to say to you guys, you know, if you're a homeless bigot, if you're a bigot against homeless people, I'm trying to educate you, okay? They're not all drug addicts, pedophiles, rapists, burglars, or murderers, or thieves. Some of them are disabled veterans, and some of them are mentally ill and not getting what they need, and some of them are just down on their luck families, actual families, who are afraid of losing their kids to a foster care system that does things like what happened to this girl in Texas who got beaten to death by her foster parents. They don't want that. And they hide, you know, and they're afraid. But I want to pose something to you before I get into all the details of that. And you can Google Sean's Outpost and hopefully donate to them, because I think what he's doing is great. So what? This is my argument. So what if a homeless person is a drug addict? So what? You know, a lot of you are so-called Christians, and I know Christians who are the first to judge a drug addicted homeless person. And they say, your addiction caused this circumstance. My argument is that that is not always the case. There is a PhD drug addiction specialist, and I wish I could remember who he is, and I just looked, and I can't find him anywhere. I believe he went to like Harvard or Brown or MIT or somewhere one of the Ivy League schools. It's a black guy. I think he has dreads. He grew up himself in a bad situation. I saw a video and an article that he did, but he's got a PhD, and he's been studying drug addiction, and he has found that it's the situation that leads to the drug addiction, like especially in poverty situations, or people in abusive relationships, or people who don't have access to the help that they need, like for example, veterans who didn't get approved for benefits and have traumatic brain injuries, and maybe they have migraines and they start smoking pot, and then one day they can't find pot and they take heroin, or who knows, okay? And what his studies actually showed was that when you change the person's situation, when you change their circumstances, the drug addictions actually fall away, even if it's like crack or heroin or meth. I mean, it's amazing. Now, I'm not saying that that's always the case, but I just want to remind all of you homeless bigots out there, okay, not bigots who are homeless, but bigots against the homeless, that you, especially if you're a Christian bigot against homeless, it just gets to me, because the Messiah says, you know, that which you do to the least of my brethren, you do to me. And so these people in Pensacola, and I don't know if they call themselves Christians or not, and maybe that's a little off topic, but I have a personal experience with one, and that's why I am mentioning that. They're judging these people before they've committed a crime. There are people saying, you know, I'm afraid because these homeless people are walking around at night, approaching people. Okay, so is it a crime to talk to people, and is it a crime to walk around at night? And so my suggestion is, if you don't want homeless people to be able to walk around at night, ask your city to put in a curfew code and follow it yourself. So if you want to go get a beer, sorry, it's past curfew. If you want to say hi to someone on the street, sorry, it's not just for homeless people, that rule. So yeah, there's laws against soliciting, but this person in particular that I'm referring to didn't say they were soliciting. And so I just want to pose this idea to you all that maybe it's not the drugs, maybe it's the circumstance. 30% real unemployment, you guys. Families, veterans, real people, human beings, And this isn't even someone forcing you to pay tax dollars to shelter these people, which actually in Utah, they've started using tax dollars to shelter the homeless, and you know what they found? It costs $5,000 less a year to provide a homeless person with their own apartment than it does to pay for their medical costs or their associated legal fees or putting them in jail overnight for sleeping in a public park with a blanket, which is now illegal in many places. It's cheaper to actually give them an apartment, but we're not even talking about Utah. We're talking about a private charitable organization working only on donations, not taking any of your biggity little judgy taxpayer dollars. Okay? Just be careful how you judge others that you should may be judged the same way. That's all I want to say. Be careful.